Thank you for joining me in this Cochrane's Early Career Professional Group Meetup. We're going to learn how to level up our social media. Everything shared today is going to be like really practical, and I really hope it just inspires you in your path forward in social media. So a little bit about me. My name is Mariah. Just so you know where I'm coming from, I don't have like a communications or marketing background. I did be a TA in a sociology of media course, but really I'm just a fangirl. My background is in healthcare policy and implementation research and qualitative methodology. I went to school at McMaster University, the home of evidence-based healthcare. And that's what I fangirl about. And so I'm super thrilled to do communications for Cochrane in my current role. I oversee both for Cochrane and the Cochrane Library a variety of different platforms. So if there's one particular platform you're interested in, we can talk about that at the end of the presentation. I'm happy to dive into any of these in detail. And yes, Cochrane is on TikTok and Pinterest, slightly under the radar and unofficial, but we are there. But also I'm spend a lot of time on my phone, probably like a lot of you. I do volunteer work. I used to run social media accounts for several organizations, including a local health network. Now that I've moved from the town of Markham, I also share health communication tips on Instagram. So if you want to follow me there on health communications, you can. So today it'll be a mix of me speaking from a Cochrane perspective, but also from an individual perspective, which is why you see the blue and pink branding throughout my presentation. So I think what I'm sharing today is different than if I was giving a presentation to organizations managing their organizational account, or a Cochrane group sharing social media on, say, Cochrane Heart or Cochrane Croatia social media account. This is talking to an individual. As you, as an early career professional, how can you level up your social media? And so today, I'm going to be the little guide. We're going to go through these top level questions, but really, again, really practical and actionable tips for you. And going to be kind of fast and overview so that we have time at the end to ask questions and to chat. So first off, why bother with social media? Beyond, sharing pictures of your cat and what you had for dinner, there's that top sort of check mark there. Super important about disseminating your research to the right people on the right platform in the format that they want it. But there's so many other reasons, and they benefit you. So it's really in your best interest as an early career professional to leverage social media. And if you're here for this webinar or watching on YouTube, you probably already realize that. So how do you get started? Well, you probably already are. They say on average, people spend 2 hours a day on social media, and probably that number is going up, especially with COVID and with younger generations. I think 2 is a conservative estimate, but the top tip is just to take audit of what you're currently using on social media. So what platforms are you on? Who do you follow and why do you follow them? So that's kind of like your homework, is to sort of think about that. And really easy in the chat to start the discussions is, what platform do you spend the most on? For me, it's Instagram. So type in the chat where you spend your time on. And if you're brave, do you spend more than 2 hours a day? For me, I know I'm scrolling a lot. I definitely spend more than 2 hours a day, outside of work even. So I am going to recommend that everybody should be on LinkedIn. So if you had to pick one platform to level up as a early career professional, it would be LinkedIn. It was super lame when I started on LinkedIn maybe about 10 years ago, but it is really improved. It's the Facebook of the working world. It's really easy to grow because you're just adding your contacts. And when you're adding your contacts, it's not your high school friends or your Facebook friends, you know, unless they're relevant, but really like edit that list. These are people that you work with, people that you meet at conferences. This is the place where you add them and you keep in contact with them. And the growth there is really good. As businesses are now realizing like the algorithm is really nice. You can see other people's work. You can connect with people. This is going to be sort of your landing page, and it's Google optimized. So if you submit your CV or resume to someone and they type in your name on Google, this is probably where they're going to like sort of see who you are and keep up with what you've done. So you want to update it. This is the one place where you can self-promote shamelessly. So brag all the time. So if you're presenting at a webinar or you're even attending a conference, post it there and keep that up to date so people can see that you're relevant, that you're keeping up to date in your field. You know, it's not a dating profile, but certainly something that you want it to look pretty and cute and express your personality. So update your profile picture. Most people don't use the space of the top banner of their LinkedIn profile. Canva has templates where you can do that. So definitely make use of all the space and update it. And I'll share some tips at the end of some free, easy templates and programs that you can use. So LinkedIn, definitely, maybe you already have an account, but it's time to revisit it and update it. And then beyond that, look at what you're already using. Is it something that you can expand? You probably already have a Facebook account. Some of you may already have Twitter. You know, are those things that you want to expand on? Does your audience that you've already built there care about your professional life? Maybe they don't. There's some questions there to sort of think about. So other channels you could maybe leverage is like your Twitter or Instagram or your Facebook. I guess the big tip for all of these other platforms that you may already be on is it's not just about sharing, it's about interacting. It's about making connections and sort of finding your people, finding your community. It's expanding beyond your friends list. So it's looking at groups in Facebook. It's looking at a hashtag that's relevant to your field of study or your field of work and interacting with the main accounts. So if you're already on Instagram or Twitter and you want to share, if you can drop what your handle is in the chat, then maybe you'll even get a few followers from this webinar. We'd love to see the type of work you're doing and what you're already sharing on your accounts. And since we're doing that, let's just have a pause and a moment of caution. Privacy settings, you know, what can people see on your profile and are you okay with that? If you Google my name on Facebook, it is locked down. Like you can't see anything on my Facebook profile because Facebook is private for me. That's my mom messaging me, my auntie's posting weird stuff on my wall, pictures of my kids. It's not where I am going to be posting anything about professional work. I may go into a Facebook group that's relevant to my work and post there, but my profile is private. So you want to think about that, of how you're using your things. Can people even see your tweets if you share your handle? That's another thing. And also, most companies or organizations have some sort of spokesperson or social media policies. So it's probably good just to check in on what those are. They're all kind of the same. If I had to summarize and give kind of like an overview of what all of these policies say, basically that your opinions are your own and you shouldn't represent or pretend that you represent, that you're speaking on behalf of an organization or a brand. And everybody has that sort of clause of like, be nice, right? Like don't use your social media to troll. So while I do think you should check out policies, don't let them scare you off and don't stress about them. So great top tip is to make use of events. And events are so great because they're like this short amount of time where it's a gathering of like-minded people, which is often your target audience. So if you're at a conference, share a picture of your poster, and tag the conference or use the hashtag. They'll probably retweet it. And it's a great way to get yourself out there, or even just posting like I attended this webinar or this training. Early career professionals are on Twitter. If you're on Twitter right now, take a screenshot of this webinar and post. Tag Cochrane, tag the early career professionals. You're going to get a retweet and you're going to connect with other people that are interested in the same things that you're interested in. Hashtags are another great way to expand your reach beyond just your followers. You can use hashtags on LinkedIn and on Facebook, but they're really well used on Twitter and Instagram. Most conferences have their own hashtag. There's an awareness day and a hashtag basically for any health condition or anything. Top tip is make a list on your phone or your computer of the ones that you use often. Look at the hashtags that other people are using and add them to your list. So you make a personalized hashtag resource document for yourself and you refer back to it when you make posts and you keep that up to date. And, maybe you're like me, you want to keep your Facebook private. You don't want, your business life to go over for social media because that's your private space. And I think that's okay. You can make use of established channels to share information and your work. So I would say definitely, use LinkedIn for work, but if you don't want to have a Twitter account, then don't. Like, it's fine. Just ask and expand your reach. And I've listed out some suggestions on people who you can tap into their established accounts. And really, this really just needs to be emphasized even more. Just ask. It can be a tag if you have a public account on a post, or it's just sending them a DM or an email. And if it's relevant and you make it easy to share, most people will share it. So I get asked a lot. It's fine. The worst people can do is just say no. So just send them, hey, here's a tweet I prepared, or this is a paper. I think it's relevant to your audience. Can you share it, please? Most people will. So that's a great way that you can leverage social media with minimal work on your part. And if it's an established account, they probably have a bigger audience than you would of your personal account. So really make use of established accounts and ask them to help share your information. And for Cochrane, it's really awesome to note that if you're sharing Cochrane-related evidence or Cochrane-related work, you can get membership points. So all the information about collecting membership points are on the Join Cochrane section of the Cochrane.org webpage. And membership is great. Just one of the benefits is that you can earn a badge and a certificate, and you can print that out. You can add it to your CV. You can share it on social media. You can add it to your LinkedIn profile. And again, it's another thing to share. Tag Cochrane. We love seeing the certificates out in the wild. We often retweet these and share this with on our social media accounts. We love to celebrate your achievements. And this is an example of how we can share your stuff on the Cochrane accounts, but a lot of universities have these things. Anytime you get a certificate or you've completed something and you're happy about it, share it on social media and tag the organization that gave it to you. They're often going to share it as well on their accounts. So some Cochrane-related resources, each one of these things could be a whole webinar on their own. And actually, we've done a webinar, and you can watch the recording on the Cochrane dissemination checklist. But it's good to note that we do have a 15-point checklist and a ton of resources about how you talk about evidence, specifically health evidence, on social media and other dissemination forms. They're like little things that you should keep in mind when sharing evidence. We also have a guide for selecting images. Social media is very visual, so we recommend things like, not only does it have to represent the audience that you're sharing it to, but like avoiding things like triggers, misrepresentation of the evidence. There's a lot of things to think about when you're using images on social media. So we have a really helpful guide with lots of examples. And we also have a whole section on the Cochrane training website about social media. So if you Google Cochrane training, social media, you'll find both this image guidelines, dissemination checklist, and then also information on different social media accounts. And also, I personally love podcasts, and these two podcasts are very evidence-based and short. The Science of Social Media ones are like 5 minutes on how to up your Instagram game, 5 minutes on how to use YouTube. They're really great. So those are the two ones that I highly recommend. And maybe your inspiration is to be a social media influencer. You want to totally supercharge your growth on your accounts. You want to be the face of your field. Well, the person to connect with is the people at AHSM. They're on Instagram and Twitter. You can find them there. They have a website, but they train and guide their members about using social media. And they're run by like the superstars of social media and healthcare. These people have like millions of followers. They're a really great resource. Cochrane works closely with them, but they're a great resource for any individual that's interested. And some other free resources to use. Again, social media is really visual. Canva has a lot of great free templates. So they do have a paid version of Canva, but you can totally just use the free version. It's fine. They have templates for like making logos for, this presentation was done on Canva. So they have presentation templates, social media templates, video templates. Really great resource. You can use it all just through the actual website. There's nothing you download to your computer. Great. If you're attending a conference, Google Better Poster templates. They're great. We used them last year as well when we did our online colloquium, and they were super easy to flip through and look at on an online form. So my tip is like, even if you're not attending a conference, because I know a lot of conferences are kind of like on pause or may not be happening in the next year, possibly longer, is if you publish something, make a poster for it, like do an infographic on it. And the Better Poster templates are a really great starting point on how to put that. They're great for sharing on social media. And if you're looking for pictures to use with Canva or just like a picture to illustrate your work on social media, Unsplash is my favorite. There are tons of different free kind of picture resources, but Unsplash is great, I think, because you don't have to give credit. It's like really simple to use. And I would use that. A lot of the time, stats show that if you post a picture with your tweet, it's going to get more interactions, more click-throughs. It's just sort of like, especially on Twitter, because it's that sort of drone of text, and when people see a picture, it causes people to stop. And if they can identify with the picture, if you've used that sort of guide in the last slide, we show you how to pick a good picture, people stop and they connect with it and they'll click through and then read your research or whatever the link is that you're sharing. So that's that high level thing. I hope I've passed on some good tips and sparked your interest in using social media. We can certainly now dive into the questions and talk more about specifics or any specific platforms that you have. I'm happy to take more questions.